the truth is a lot of the diets people practice aren't safe diets. I think fiber is one of the biggest neglected parts of gut health. Fiber is really important for the gut because the fiber serves as a prebiotic, which is food for the microbes. But number one will always be diet.
Welcome to the I Am Pain-Free podcast. It's Rob, your host. Today's episode is one you don't want to miss. We're diving deep into the world of gut health with none other than functional dietitian Naria Lemire. Are you struggling with chronic pain, inflammation, or just unexplained health issues? Well, you might be surprised to learn that the root of those problems lies, guess where? In your gut. Naria is here to share her revolutionary approach to healing from the inside out. She's using advanced testing and powerful natural strategies to uncover hidden gut issues to help guide people to true, lasting relief. Could healing your gut be the key to living pain-free? Let's find out. Here she is. Hey, this is Rob Renee. Welcome to the I Am Pain-Free podcast. We have exciting guests today. We have Naria with us today. How are you, Naria?
Good. Hi. How are you?
I am fantastic. Excited to have you on the show and reading about your past, and just is exciting. I love to talk to people who are excited about health and wellness, and it looks like you've been doing that for quite some time. So I'm excited to learn more about you and what you are doing. So why don't you just introduce yourself to the show?
Yeah. So my name is Naria. I'm a functional gut health registered dietitian. My main goal is really to help people get to the root problem of their stomach pain in a way that's sustainable. Really important that's sustainable.
Right. Makes total sense. It's been fun because I've been doing this podcast for maybe 6 months or more, and a lot of the practitioners I talk to, they end up saying, because I typically like to focus at least a portion of this show on pain relief, right? It's like, how do we relieve pain? And that's why I was excited to talk to you, because most of the other practitioners, they say, you know what, to relieve pain, you have to start at the gut. And so before I got into this field and started trying to help people relieve pain, I had no idea that that's where inflammation started. And so it's been an exciting journey for me to learn more about the body from all these amazing practitioners. And obviously you're helping people with their gut health. So let's talk about how did you get interested in helping people with their gut? So give me a little bit more about your background.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because when I was working in like a clinical hospital setting, I started to notice a trend in the early years of we're not getting to the root problem and people are coming back. There has to be a different way to treat this. There has to be a way that we can treat it in a way that we actually get to the problem and they can graduate from coming to the clinic or the hospital all the time. But what I saw was that wasn't happening. The people were coming worse and worse and worse. I'm thinking, what if I started to practice as a dietitian in a different way to get to that root problem? Would they essentially graduate from working with a provider? And that dug me into a deep world of it starts in the gut. So I'm thinking,
Awesome.
If it starts in the gut, then that's where I'm going to focus on, because if I can help them heal their gut, everything else follows.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because I totally believe that based upon all the evidence that I'm seeing as well. It's exciting to hear you say that, because it seems to be such an important topic, because a lot of people just don't understand that. And so if we can help educate the world that this fact is real and it's important, that way we can get some change in people's I guess their daily routines. How do you go about when you work with people? How do you try to get them to the point where you make it a routine?
Yeah, and it takes time. It takes time. But the number one thing, I want them to be aware that there is a problem, and I want them to know what kind of path what their path is going to look like. Because if I lay a path for them and I set realistic expectations on what habits we need to create, they can become aware of, okay, I'm going to be working with this during my time with Naria, and that way it can be sustainable. So laying out a path for them, and I do start with the functional test. So the test says this about your specific gut. That means we have to do this in the next several months. And that really lays the outline, and of course, encouraging habit creation. That's huge.
Makes sense. So what functional tests do you have them do? Do you have a particular gut test that they take, or what are there multiple tests? Or tell me about that.
Yeah, my favorite test that I've been doing in the last few years is the Biome FX. The Biome FX is a wonderful functional stool test. I actually started with a test that's called the GI map, which was really
Okay.
helpful, but I felt like there's more information here that I feel that I'm not seeing. And I was introduced to the Biome FX, and going to the Biome FX, we get into that root problem. It's really insightful, and it's helped a lot of people who have taken it.
So then you get this report from that test. And what are the indicators on that test that where you start trying to figure out how to help people? How do you read that test, and what is it? I've never heard of that test. So explain more about what it is and what you find out from it.
The test, it shows everything. If there's any overgrowth, if any fungus overgrowth, if someone has candida or E. coli or H. pylori, it lets us know who's there and what are they doing, in short. Because when we think about different microbes or different funguses, it's okay to have them at certain healthy levels, but the thing is, most people don't have healthy levels of these things. So when we look at the test and it says this is too high and it's supposed to be lower, that's where it gets my attention of maybe that's why you have brain fog. Maybe that's
Mm.
why you have all these migraines, or your blood sugars are crazy, or maybe that's why you can't lose weight, or you have all that stomach pain. And that's where it leads to who's there, what microbe, and what are they doing.
Awesome. Awesome. And so then you start trying to, based upon those results, then you try to direct people to the right place to start fixing the ones either out of calibration or need to be back in the right levels, right? So
Exactly.
so explain your gut a little bit more to people. Let's just say, okay, I'm coming in to you say, hey, I have some issues with my gut. I'm not sure what's wrong. You recommend the test. I go take the test. And say, okay, now I come back and say, okay, now I've got a stomach issue and or inflammation or something to that effect, and say, and you want me to do this test. Why are we doing a gut test, and what's it? How does my gut operate?
Yeah, and that's a really good question. I get that question all the time, and I always tell individuals we have to remember that our gut is a very long tube. That's really what it is, a long tube from the bottom to the top from the bottom. And every section has a different job. That
Mm-hmm.
test allows me to see, is there a certain part in the gut that's not working, right? So let's say, for example, that I'm checking out the bacteria that are supposed to be in the smaller large intestine, and then I see some bacteria from the oral cavity in there. So that lets me know there could be an issue with stomach acid. So when I'm recommending this test, is I need to dig deep and avoid the guessing game. Because if someone comes with stomach pain, and especially if it's in the upper area, lower area, there's so much that could be going on, and we can play around with different supplements and waste time and money. But this test avoids that guessing game, so that way I can see where is the problem, what's happening, and what supplements and lifestyle changes do we need to do to get better sooner than later.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I love the fact that you started working with patients and you're like, okay, let's see why they're having this issue because they keep coming back. So I think that's so important that we try to help people understand the core of the issue and let's heal or let's fix the core. And then when we can fix the core, then at least my belief is that God made our bodies wonderfully and fearfully, and that He made our bodies to heal themselves
Yeah.
if we give it the right nutrients. And once you get your body working well, then it can have the environment to start healing itself. What do you think about that?
I agree. I agree. I think I tell people our body, its number one job is to keep us alive. Like you said,
Yeah.
God made our bodies absolutely amazing. I don't know if we'll ever fully understand it because they're just that amazing. But there's a job in every section that most people, when we're doing our day-to-day lives, we don't even know the food's getting digested. We don't know the water is getting absorbed. We don't consider these things because everything inside is doing this job. All these little microbes are doing their job without us even considering it. So our body is very good at doing its job when it's treated correctly and it's in a safe place. But if it's not in a safe place, or there's some type of malfunctions, and we as a human, as a person that's in control of the whole body, we have to stop and say, where is the problem? What can I do to support you? And that may mean lifestyle changes, maybe some supplements. So that way we can support the body until it's able to do it on its own again.
I love it. I love it. That makes total sense. So, how do when you talk about a safe place? Is that explain that to me a little more? What do you mean by safe place?
Safe places, sometimes people go on really extreme diets. They go on
Yeah,
really extreme diets. I work with a lot of individuals, especially females, who want to lose weight.
right.
And the truth is, a lot of the diets people practice aren't safe diets, in that you put it through this extreme state of really unhealthy calorie deficits, extreme workouts. And yes, you do see weight loss and so forth. But I always think about the sustainability. How are you going to feel when you get older? And at that time, your body can really take it as a threat if not
Gotcha.
done safely with the right provider. That's why I always encourage people, work on weight loss goals with a provider. You want to allow your body to feel safe. You want your body to know you're not starving it to death when you're reducing your calories. You want to allow it to feel safe. And if you do it nice and easy in a way that you can continue doing until the end of your days, then you're more likely to lose the weight, increase your lean body mass, do all that fun stuff, versus doing something really dramatic and making your body feel attacked in a sense. And following up, let's say if I follow up with them in a year or five, that weight may come back because they just didn't do it sustainably and their body didn't feel safe.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, what got you interested in helping people? So tell us a little bit more about your story.
Yeah, I think it goes back to when I had my own issues. I never found someone to give me a real solution. Even going back from 18, 19 years old, I work with so many doctors and no one, not no one, the last appointment I had as an underage person actually referred me to a dietitian. That's how I figured out dietitian existed.
Uh,
But even moving forward to being a dietitian and working in clinics, it's they don't get to the root problem. I was working in a facility actually that we had so many diabetics, and the facility was serving them so much rice, so much starch, and a little bit of non-starchy veggies, and I'm thinking that's not going to help. Families were mad, they were upset, they were sad, they were coming crying. Why isn't the dietitian doing something? And it's rough in the clinics. And I think when I saw all of those failures and all those limitations in actually helping people, I felt I'm already a dietitian. Like I can do something on my own. I have control now, and I open my own practice.
nice, nice. Now that makes total sense. Yeah, that's crazy that a facility like that would feed people when they have an issue like a diabetic issue, and then they're feeding them things that just exacerbate the problem. It's just hello, like why I don't understand why that happens, but it's more research that I do. Is just our healthcare system is unfortunately set up the way it is with insurance and big pharma that not to really help people at the core. And so I'd love that you just took that upon yourself and say, okay, I want to help people. And so I'm going to go create my own. Now that I have the knowledge, I'm going to go create my own practice and help people. So I commend you for doing that. Well done.
Yeah, I love it. I really do. The satisfaction in helping people get to the root problem is the best thing in the world.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, so I've been in your practice and we've taken the test and you've looked at my results. And now what do you do? What do you do next? Let's just
Yeah.
give me some examples.
And that's really when the action starts, right? When I get the results back, because now I'm like, okay, I don't have to do the guessing game. I see what's on the test. I create what's called a protocol.
Okay.
And the protocols that I create will include some type of diet, depending on where they're coming from. Because if I have someone, for example, with diverticulitis versus someone with like maybe IBS, IBD, their meal plan will look different. But I give them a very thorough meal plan, especially if you do coaching with me, to walk them through the process of adding back foods, because most people when they start with me, they have a very small food list that they can even tolerate. So my
Mm-hmm.
goal is to heal the gut with the protocol and start to add foods back. The protocol will include different supplements to support the body while it heals, with the goal of allowing it or encouraging it to do it on its own. Many times it needs support long term, like maybe having some digestive enzymes long term. But the goal in most cases is to support the body until it can do it on its own. So there's different supplements, diets, and lifestyle, because many people don't manage their stress. Many
Mm-hmm.
people don't have healthy sleeping habits. And the core of a healthy body starts with sleep and stress, then nutrition and physical activity.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that you're helping people just outside of just talking about what most dietitians are going to focus on is their diet, right? And
Yes.
what they're consuming. But yeah, you're treating people more holistically, which is amazing. From a dietitian's perspective, this is something that just drives me crazy in the respect that not all dietitians or any dietitian for that matter, but just the way that our health system was set up and they came out with the pyramid. What do you think of the pyramid that we were taught as children?
I think it's interesting you asked this because I just had a conversation with two of my friend dietitians that are doing functional nutrition now. And
Yeah.
basically, going into functional nutrition, we have to unlearn a lot of what we learned at school. So, going back
Right.
to my pyramid or my plate, it's a government program. It's a government program, and I'll just leave it at that for now.
Come on, I wanted to get it out of you.
But
But
I'll tell you that in my program, my clients don't ever hear my plates or my pyramid. I teach things that actually work, that actually get to the root problem, that will reduce that inflammation, and it's not run by the government.
yeah, just to make, I'm glad you said that, just because I agree with you in the respect that just when I go back and look at the way that it is set up, it's crazy that that's the diet that they want our children to follow and all the things that we're taught. That's just not the way it should be. Did you by chance watch the Casey Means interview with Tucker Carlson? Have you heard of Casey Means before?
I haven't.
Okay, no problem. So it's just interesting. She was a Stanford educated surgeon. And
Hmm.
then she was like just similar to you, respect that she was trying to help people with their ear. She was an ear, nose, throat surgeon, and they came in with inflammation, and then they kept coming back with inflammation. She's like, hello, we got to go figure out why they have the inflammation, right? And then no one wanted her to do that because they're just like, no, this your job is just to fix what the problem is, and so she ended up giving up her surgeon gloves and went back and got trained in functional medicine and now helps people like you do. So it's just exciting to see that people are really trying to help people holistically instead of just saying, okay, here now I've got a pill for your ill, which I think has been the way I grew up. I grew up as you trust the doctor. When you have a problem, you go to the white coat and the white coat tells you what to do. But unfortunately, the way our system's set up is that, they are giving people a pill for fixing whatever that is, and then that every pill has a side effect. Every drug has a side effect. And I was doing research, and the average seniors on 15 different medications, prescription medication in a year period. It's just crazy how that they feed that, and they're just destroying people's guts, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
we need people like you to help. So thank you for what you do. I'm just excited that you're doing what you're doing. So did you go back or did you get a functional medicine degree, or how did you train yourself to do what you're doing?
I debated going back and getting my master's in that during that time. I actually ended up just getting a master's in public health, but
Okay.
a lot of continuing education, a lot of courses, some certifications. I didn't go back to do the functional route. I took about 2+ years of just doing different types of certifications for this and really opening my eyes to what is going to help my clients get to that root problem. And that
Yeah.
took me into this path. And even when I work with people and they say, Nari, I work with GI doctors, I work with primary care providers, I work with naturopaths, it doesn't matter. I always explain that you have to work with a provider who specializes in these things. Otherwise, it's like you're going to a general doctor and you're expecting them to have a specialty advanced education like a GI doctor, and it's different. So you
Right.
have to go to that specialist that took the time to specialize in that field.
Makes a lot of sense. What else about the gut would be any cases that you'd like to talk about? Who are some of the people that you've really helped, and what were their issues, and how did you help them get from A to Z?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I'll explain an interesting one because a lot of the times when people start working with me, they're iffy because they've
Right.
come working with other providers, especially
Yeah, yeah.
from
They're
doctors.
like,
They're
I
like,
tried this, I tried that, I've tried this, I've tried that. Help.
and I get it. It's scary. And they'll say a lot. Naria went from a doctor. How is a dietitian going to be different from a doctor? And that's a whole discussion in itself. But the big thing is that I literally specialize in the gut. All my waking moments, it's gut stuff. Gut all day, all night, I'm doing gut stuff. But this particular case, it was an individual who was working with, I think he's mentioned 2 to 3 different GI doctors, just regular GI doctors, not functional doctors. So I started him on a regular plan with different types of prebiotics, which can be difficult for a lot of people to tolerate. Fiber is really important for the gut because the fiber serves as a prebiotic, which is food for the microbes. So for this individual, I started him with a prebiotic, aka some fiber, and also a probiotic. And the thing people don't understand with probiotics, that's a huge game in itself, because there's so many different strains, different companies, and you have to be careful. Some of them actually don't get along. They have like little personalities. So if you take two different types of probiotics, they may actually fight. So I give him a regimen of prebiotics and probiotics, and I see him in 2 weeks, and he's all right, I still feel weird. And I tell him, okay, just continue doing it. So I see him again in 2 weeks, and he says, Naria, after our session, I went to the bathroom and I had the darkest, hardest stool in the world. And after that, it's been butterflies and rainbows.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
and this is an
Nice.
individual that it was less than a month, and he said this to me. And this is someone who saw multiple GI doctors. It wasn't someone who was a new person. He's seen different providers, and he says, "How were you able to solve an issue that doctors have been giving me all these different medications?" That one was just a funny one because he really didn't trust the process. I've tried probiotics before, I've tried fiber, it didn't work, and I'm like, sometimes you just have to give me a try.
Right.
And you just
Right.
have to trust the
Right.
process sometimes.
That's
That
exciting.
one, I get a lot of individuals with different new food allergies or sensitivities.
Yeah.
And they
How do
say,
you
Nari,
tell that people have an allergy to a food? Do you do a different test than the one that you mentioned earlier, or how do you deal with that with food allergies?
with food allergies, one of the things when I started, I would do food sensitivity tests, but now I actually just do good old elimination diets. And
Okay.
that's been working good. And part of that is because I do the functional stool test to get to the root problem, solve that root problem. And a lot of the times the food sensitivity starts to go away.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
Nice. I
So
bet they
we
like
heal the
that.
gut, we add foods back, and that's literally the goal there. For some people, it takes less time than others, but the whole goal is you heal the gut, and then you start to add foods gradually.
I like it. So my wife occasionally will complain that she takes her a couple of days until she can go to the bathroom, and it really frustrates her. And then she'll take some medication. I can't remember what it is, and
Hmm.
then she it works for a few days, and then 6 months later she ends complaining about the similar thing. So how do you help people that are like that? Is it diet related, or do you think it's supplement related, or is it the combination of the two, or how do you do it with supplementation or diet or both?
For most people who just have constipation, it's most likely going to be their fiber intake. And I say that because let's say for women, we're supposed to have at least 30 grams of fiber a day. When I start working with people, they may have 10 grams of fiber a day.
Uh,
I like to start with people with the easiest thing to do, and then I start to add on. And sometimes people do have constipation issues for deeper issues, but that would be a smaller portion of people. But for most people that, let's say she doesn't have IBS or anything apart from constipation, it's probably just a fiber issue. It's probably just
gotcha.
a fiber issue. And even with the medication to help with constipation, I like to get people off of those. That's
Right.
the number one goal. Even if it's just constipation, I'm usually, I would say, about 80 to 90% of the time able to get people off of medication as long as they're compliant.
There you go. So when you do compliant, like what types of fiber do you recommend? Is there just one type, or do you try to do multiple types of fiber?
It depends on the case because sometimes
Okay.
people are really sensitive. Sometimes I need
Right.
like fiber that's nice and easy that is not rapidly fermenting for people who have a lot of bloating. But other people, they may tolerate, like psyllium has a lot of research. I've been using it for years for people, and it's my one of my go-to fibers. So if there's no other issues, let's say, I like to start people with psyllium. But if they maybe have IBD, IBS, SIBO, anything that I'm not going to start them on that. I may start them with sun fiber. Sun fiber is a nice and easy fiber to start with. And if they can't tolerate those two, then I have to dig it deeper a little bit more about what's going on in the gut. But those two
So
are,
are those supplements, or that you get the fiber through those, or do you get them through food?
yeah, so those are two supplements, the
Okay.
sun fiber and the
Okay.
slim. But number one will always be diet.
Got it.
Diet, and then you
Got
use
it.
the supplements to literally just supplement the diet to
Right.
help fill the gap of, let's say, those 10 grams of fiber to help them get to those 30 grams. You
Right.
don't want to do 20 grams of fiber supplement, that's not what I'm saying,
Right.
but
Right.
it can help them get maybe 5 6 more grams a day until they increase their fruits and veggie intake.
Yeah, I was going to say, so then what types of foods do you recommend for their fiber? Is it the fruits and vegetables only, or
Yes,
is
mostly
yeah,
fruits. fruits and non-starchy veggies should be the core of fiber, and also legumes. So
Okay.
fruits, veggies, legumes should be most of fiber. Starch, just be mindful of starch fiber, even whole wheat rice, whole wheat products, anything like that. But the core of it should be fruits, veggies, and beans, legumes.
Gotcha. So legumes, how do you have people eat legumes? What is a legume?
It could be like, I count it as any type of bean. So like black beans, red beans, lentils, anything like that, because all of those products are going to be really high in fiber.
Nice, nice. Okay. All right,
Mhm.
good. We'll get her working on that, and we'll see how that progresses from her. When you are working with people on their gut, is a lot of it pain related, or is it gut related? But these doctors, like I was mentioning, talk a lot about pain, right? And inflammation initiates from the gut. So, do you see that as well? And how do you get people how do you reduce their inflammation with gut health?
Yeah, if they're going through some type of inflammation, it's going to be a change in diet and some supplements to relieve the tube that we talked about at the beginning. So there's obviously some, that pain causes inflammation. So we want to give some type of supplement that's going to reduce that inflammation, but also what do we need to do in the diet to help encourage that healing? For
Right.
example, if I'm working with someone with diverticulitis, then I'm going to ease off of the high fiber foods, anything that's heavy, anything that's high in fat, to allow the body to just heal and take its time. But usually it's both diet and some type of supplements as they're healing or until they heal.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. So, what else? What do you do for fun? Do you do anything? I mean, you're very busy. You said you're working on gut health from morning till night. What do you like to do to enjoy life?
I love traveling with my family, honestly.
There you
Traveling
go.
is huge. It's so much fun. If I'm at home, it's probably playing with my guinea pigs. I have a few guinea pigs, and they're just like the cutest little things.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, so I do a
I'll
lot of
bet.
those too.
I like it. How about traveling? Where's your favorite place to go?
Uh, Probably Hawaii. I love
Yeah,
Hawaii.
hard to go wrong with that, isn't it?
Yeah, Hawaii's quite
I
a
like it.
treat.
Yes, yes. All right. So, how do people get a hold of you, Naria?
Yeah, they can find me online. I'm all on social media. I'm on Instagram, TikTok. I have a YouTube channel, a website. If they just search Naria Lemire Nutrition, they
Okay.
have tons of information on where they can find me and get a lot of free resources to help them guide or to guide them into their healing path.
Nice. Fantastic. We'll make sure that we have all of the links to your website and to your social media sites and make sure that they can get access to those free resources because we want to help people get their gut healthy.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to say as we're signing off?
I think one of the biggest things for gut health I want to share with everyone is really consider fiber. I
Okay.
think fiber is one of the biggest neglected parts of gut health. And as you really learn about fiber, how much fiber you can tolerate, how much you should have, it can make the biggest difference in gut health.
Fantastic. I love it. We appreciate that tip, and I'll make sure that we highlight that. And we really appreciate you for being on the I Am Pain Free podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. God bless you, and we'll talk soon.
You too. Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Goodbye. As many of you know, my focus at the I Am Pain Free podcast is help as many people get pain free as possible. And we strive to use all natural and alternative therapies to accomplish that goal. Well, today I'm thrilled to introduce to you a revolutionary product that aligns perfectly with our mission of natural health and well being. It's called Exodus by Exodus Strong. At Exodus Strong, their mission is to help you break free from the grip of big pharma and embrace natural solutions that promote vibrant health. With a foundation rooted in the wisdom of the Bible, the all natural supplement harnesses the power of 7 key ingredients specifically mentioned in the scriptures. The flagship product Exodus is designed to be transformational, providing benefits such as energy enhancement, stress relief, blood sugar stabilization, pain relief, and anti-inflammation. So join the movement, right, to help them get 1 million new people to read the Bible every day and transform their health naturally. When you purchase Exodus, use code IAPF at checkout to receive a special free gift with your order. It's time to exit the old you and step into a new chapter of vitality and well-being. To get there, you go to exodusstrong.com exodus.com. So it's Exodus, EXODUS, STRONG.com. And check out and use that IAPF for the I Am Pain Free podcast. And then you'll experience the benefits of the Exodus mineral blend. This mineral blend is amazing. It's got the molecular hydrogen generating formula that's backed by hundreds of scientific studies. So begin your journey feeling great and looking great. Don't miss the opportunity to take control of your health with the all natural way. So go check it out. I think you'll really enjoy it.